all profit is value extraction. And that means that all profit is theft from you.
Corporate America is on welfare, and you got to get them off welfare.
Last words on my lips. I am a revolutionary, and you're gonna have to keep on saying that.
All right, everybody, welcome to Cars and Comrades, the comradiest car podcast that we can manage, where we discuss car stuff and also Karl Marx.
All right.
And, you know, Bakunin, or whoever you fancy. I didn't plan this ahead, clearly. All right, today we have me, Brandon, my friends Zach, Connor, and Bryant, and our special guest, Chris from Denver DSA.
Hello.
We've got a bunch of he, hims with Chris being a they. And you want to say hey, Chris?
Yeah, hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on. I am Chris, and I do use they, them. I live here in Denver.
All right, we're happy to have you. Oh, yeah, we got to start doing social media stuff because we are fucking irresponsible. So everybody check us out on social media. I don't know what those are because I forget. Connor, fill me in.
We got Instagram and Twitter, and you can find us on old Reddit. Pretty sure we're not on new Reddit because there is a difference, I'm pretty sure.
No,
we're on Facebook.
No, I checked. It's good.
It's good? Okay.
Yeah.
Are we just Cars and Comrades on everything?
Yeah, we're Cars and Comrades on everything, including our email, which is
fancy
Cars and
underscores?
Comrades. Yeah, if you just search, it will come up. We actually have a backup Instagram account now, too. So you can follow that, but that's just in case I get a little too spicy and get banned. So, you know, search us there. And our email is carsandcomrades at gmail.com. So very simple.
And I don't think we've gotten any emails that haven't been spam or bills for hosting. So send us an email, even if it's just to say hello. It's kind of lonely over there. But
yeah, and if you have any criticisms of the show, drop us a line so we can tell you to go fuck yourself. We're just having a good time here. We don't really care about your opinion.
Well, I invited Chris on here. I thought it would be good to have them talk about some of their car experiences and also just experiences with the Denver DSA. Chris has been part of the various leadership roles, wearing a few different hats, and involved with different aspects of the org and the national, and a fellow connoisseur of Mazdas of all varieties. Yeah. So we'll be talking in this episode about getting caught up on our projects and everything, and then we got a few different news stories to share with y'all. Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe why we should be involved, why our listeners should be involved with the DSA.
Absolutely. So DSA is Democratic Socialists of America. It's a member-funded organization working towards establishing some conditions for socialism. I think mainly focused on reform-type work, transformative reforms like Medicare for All, the Green New Deal, and the like, labor reforms currently with the PRO Act. Denver DSA formed in late 2016, not long after Trump was elected, devolved from what was a statewide DSA organization, which was a little unusual because it was kind of a statewide defunct organization. But at the same time, Boulder and Denver both formed new chapters. I think we chartered as a chapter in May 2017, had our first leadership elections in June of that year, and I was the chapter secretary for a couple of years. Now mostly focused on work with the national Medicare for All campaign, and to me that's the reason for DSA to exist. I'm very much a socialist. I'm all about establishing actual socialism, but I am personally very invested in the Medicare for All fight, and I think it's the single biggest thing that can happen for working people in this country. And I think DSA has not only the right line on it, but also has the kind of people and the kind of organizing structure that will allow us to move towards and to win Medicare for All in hopefully, God willing, the near future.
Yep. Let me ask a question about DSA to address a rumor I've heard that I don't know if it's true. Do y'all forbid Marxist-Leninists?
So the bylaws do say that someone who's under the influence, I believe it's under the influence of a democratic centralist organization. So if Marxist-Leninists were trying to make DSA a Marxist-Leninist org, that is not allowed. But anybody who is a Marxist-Leninist is perfectly welcome.
Okay. Good, because I've been meaning to get in touch with my local DSA, but Marxist-Leninist over here.
And where's that?
I'm in Western Pennsylvania, around Pittsburgh.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, and I think to that point, like DSA is in general a big tent organization. You know, there's everyone from, you know, progressive liberals to, you know, Marxist-Leninists, Maoists, anarchists, whatever, you know. It's a multi-tendency organization. And I think I've heard other people from other orgs complaining online and on Twitter about whatever, about their local org. But I think, you know, at least my experience with Denver DSA has been largely positive. It's doing a lot of good work locally in the community with local politics, electing, you know, city council members, and working on, like, I worked on a campaign for what was it, school board, you know, stuff like that, and trying to get, well, and succeeding in getting legislation like what recently passed in Boulder to provide representation, to provide lawyers for people facing eviction.
Right.
So
right, the no eviction without representation campaign.
Oh, fuck
yeah.
That's awesome.
So I mean, we haven't achieved the revolution yet, but we've been doing some good work, I think.
I don't know what role
Absolutely.
the DSA locally has played in this, but we have a socialist judge that has reduced evictions in the county by 40%, I believe, in the last couple of years that he's been in office.
Yeah.
Yo, he's up for re-election soon, so if you are local to Pittsburgh, vote for Mick Pappas. He's doing good things.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. And Chris, I think last time we talked in person, or maybe, you know, a few times ago, you had talked about your Miata that you used to have, and I think you had another Mazda as well.
Oh yeah, I'm a kind of a huge Mazda guy. I used to be a car generalist, but mostly I only keep up on Mazda news lately. I did have a couple or three, I guess, Miatas, now Zero, and just driving a Mazda 6, which I absolutely love. It's the most fun real like car I've had. I've only,
Wait,
I guess
Chris,
other than that, I've really only had Miatas.
So you're a big Mazda fan, but you haven't waded into a rotary yet?
No, never driven a rotary, but was kind of excited to see that they're bringing the MX-30 here stateside this year. That's going to be electric only to start with, but then sometime next year, range extending rotary generator in it. So that's pretty cool.
I did.
Now, Chris, did you get rid of your Miatas because you realized that they weren't sports cars?
No. No. My last one, I sold to pay for a surgery. And that's part of my Medicare for All story. But yeah, sold it to help cover surgery costs. The one before that, I had an accident and that was total.
We have a running joke about whether or not the Miata is a sports car. So if you
what are the sides? Yeah, I mean, it's clearly a sports car.
Clearly.
All it lacks is power.
Well, that's the problem.
Right. But you don't really need that much power. I mean, I had fun in my Geo Metro, which is, to be clear, not a sports car. But it's all about momentum. If you just never use the brakes, it's pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, anything will go fast if you push it off a cliff. So
Yeah, it's a sports car. It's not a muscle car. That's
right.
The distinction, I guess.
The Geo Metro, I don't think it's either of those things.
It's kind of funny. Like, as like small as it is, my Miata never got above like maybe 25 or 30 miles per gallon. So it's not.
I really thought you were going to say 25 or 30 miles an hour.
No, it definitely went faster than that. But
yeah, they're not super efficient. I guess the newer ones are barely competitive, like mid 30s or something. But
right,
the old one, surprisingly, I did a lot of highway driving. I had a 1990 Miata. Did a ton of highway driving when I worked for IBM in Arizona, and topped out at like 30.
Okay, with all due respect, you guys complaining that 25 or 30 is not great fuel economy, go fuck yourselves.
For a car that weighs nothing, though, and has no engine.
But I get 12.
Right. Yeah, well, okay, but for reference, my 350Z, probably before it was, modified as much as it is, but generally, when I first had it, it could do 32-ish on the highway pretty consistently, and it weighs, I think, more than 1,000 pounds more and makes like triple the horsepower. Like it's way different.
You got to wonder where the fuel's going.
Well, that's actually a real thing. There is a common misconception, and I don't know if we've discussed it really, but more power can be more efficient up to a point. Like if your engine's underpowered, it has to work harder, and it kills fuel economy. I think GM was having an issue with one of their trucks a couple of years ago because I think it was a 4-cylinder or V6 or V8 options, and the 4-cylinder got like the worst fuel economy because it just was not big enough to lug around the like monstrous, probably 8,000-pound truck.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the highest part of your rev range all the time just to keep the car moving, it's not going to be efficient. It's just going to burn fuel constantly. But, the Miata, on the other hand, just doesn't need to be efficient because it's a sports car and it's tuned for power, not efficiency.
Yeah, if that's tuned for power, I got some questions.
Right.
Well, I partially bring that up because I've been doing some research, and if I play my cards right, I'm going to turn my Cutlass into my most fuel-efficient vehicle, which would, if my math works out, I might get it up to 22 to 23 miles to a gallon, but that's out of a 455 big block.
That is insane to me. I have a 2011 Subaru WRX that gets similar gas mileage out of a 2.5 liter.
Well, I hear really common stories.
Those boxers are terrible on fuel economy.
Dog shit. I mean,
they're
absolute
so bad.
Dog shit. I don't understand. I mean, I do understand there is like a huge mechanical disadvantage to making your pistons move against gravity that way. Like no part of the stroke is assisted with coming back down. It's always on a lateral plane.
I never thought about that.
I think it's mostly to do with the manifold design on the boxers, because like especially with the turbo cars, the WRX, you've got on the driver's side bank of cylinders, I guess you'd call it, that exhaust goes about 1.5 or 2 feet longer than the passenger side bank.
It does, yeah.
So like, and
You're
then
saying always go twin turbo to balance it out.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure if many people have done twin turbo WRXs. I'm sure someone has, but
I don't know much about Subarus, so I don't know.
Yeah, and then the intake too is kind of an odd design because it has to start in the middle and then go towards each side. So I'm sure there would be a more efficient way to do that. Maybe Porsche has figured that out, but yeah, not the most efficient motor in general.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the head design, because the heads go right up against the firewall or the frame rails. I mean, it has to be pretty compact, and you can't. It's like the newer ones; they've got like variable valve timing. I think Zach's has at least variable cam phasing, but they've kind of fit all that in that small space, and it can be a little bit iffy, especially like with the oil passages and stuff, and the coolant and everything, which is kind of where those engines fail, I believe. But
well, I'm just hoping to get a 22 mile per gallon big block.
No, that'd be an accomplishment for sure.
Well, from the factory, some of them got 18, and that was without overdrive. So it's entirely possible if I gear the rear end right and put in an overdrive transmission.
Yeah, totally. I guess we should get caught up on our project cars. Brandon, what have you been working on this week?
Oh, everything has become a project now. Cutlass still isn't running. I haven't even really fucked with it. My 69 Chevy van is I don't know how to hammer sheet metal, so I'm just doing a lot of welding on it. I'm having to replace the entire window frame right now. So I've been like slowly chipping away at that. I can't remember. Oh, I think I already talked about the last time I got to work on my race van. So that has made no progress because it's 400 miles away. But I'm going to take a vacation to work on that next month and hopefully get it rolling and maybe a motor mocked up in it. And
you have to go visit your car?
I have a buddy who lives 400 miles away, and he found the perfect platform for a thing that I had talked about building half as a joke, which is like a pro street early Chevy, like flat front van. And then he found somebody that had already started a back half job to turn this early Chevy van into a pro street van. And it was $400 with a title.
Oh, wow.
So I was, physically compelled to buy it. So it's been at his house on his farm. Because it didn't have a rear end or anything in it. The whole back frame section wasn't finished. So, we're trying to get it well enough that I can roll it onto a trailer conveniently and get it back out to me, which hopefully happens next month. We're going to finish the 4-link kit, finish the frame, and try and get all the suspension mounted in it.
Oh, how fun.
This week, it's just been me fighting with my daily driver. I've replaced one brake line and both rear wheel cylinders because every time one thing gets fixed, so as best as I can figure is once I replace one thing, it makes it so that I can actually generate pressure in the lines, which immediately blows something else out.
Yeah, that's usually how that goes with brake systems. I'm like, oh, you replace one part of a brake system, huh? Well, what broke next?
Dude, oh my God, Wednesday I had to call out of work because I was at my house and I got my entire rear driver's side wheel apart, and the last bolt for the wheel cylinder rounded off. And no amount of vice grips or pipe wrench or anything could both reach the bolt and get enough leverage on it to actually spin it. So I had to put the whole thing back together, rebleed my whole brake system, drive it to my shop so that I could weld a nut onto the back of the bolt, and then get the bolt out.
What a hassle.
So yeah, what should have taken me like an hour and a half took me 6 hours. And I was so happy because it was the first time my brakes had actually felt firm in months. And that only happened because I got up that morning to go to work. I knew that I had a problem with my brake system, but I was going to try. I had worked on it the night before. That was when I had replaced a line. And I was like, okay, this should at least get me to work tomorrow so that I can finish the rest of it after work. And I go out and the pedal just goes all the way to the floor. And I'm like, well, fuck me. I also woke up that morning and the gas had been turned off in my house because I'm very irresponsible and forget to pay my bills.
Oops.
So I had no heat, no hot water, and no brakes. And it was just a really sad morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
I imagine
go
that my
back to
irresponsibility is really good for my storytelling, but it really sucks to live in. Anyway, I got all that sorted out that day, and then 2 days later, I go back out to my van, and the brakes go right to the floor again.
Oof.
And it was so discouraging. But I was feeling motivated, so I pulled the wheel off and saw all of the fluid just pissing out of the wheel cylinder. And so I did that, and man, I tell you what, it went from like my brakes being completely firm and fine back to really soft and leaking fluid everywhere just from sitting. That cylinder was ruined. Both seals, the seal on one side was completely off, and the other one had been torn in half. I have no idea what happened to that poor fucking thing in 2 days.
Yeah.
But as
Somebody like take it and race it without you noticing?
dude, this is my daily. It's not a good racer. It's barely a good daily. I don't know, man. I just keep driving. I'm on overtime at work, so I'm just like at my wits' end and just struggling. So when this happens, it's really discouraging. But as of 3 hours ago, my brakes seem to be working fine again.
Okay.
All right.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I've replaced almost every linkage except for one, or every line except for one in my entire rear brake system over the course of the winter.
Damn.
Not just feeling it out either, because each one of them keeps breaking.
Yeah, that's tough.
Whatever. To do the whole thing has probably cost me like $100.
Yeah. I guess that is the good part of old Chevys is pretty easy to find parts for.
Super easy. Okay, that's me. Who's next?
Well, if we're going alphabetical, I haven't been working on my cars at all. I need to talk to my mechanic friend to see about fixing my my MR2 because I think I told you all the alignment's been off. Like I took it to this one place in the neighborhood to get the alignment, and I think they didn't really know what they were doing. The guy that I talked to seemed like he was stoned. So I think I trust my friend with like string and rulers and stuff rather than these yahoos. So I'm going to talk to him and see if that's something he can do. But as I've also I was working on my moped a little bit last night and this morning before we started recording, and I didn't accomplish it very much. I put the carb back on and put the cable on there for the carb and hooked it up to the throttle and all that. And I briefly tried to start it earlier today and got nothing. So I'm going to have to take a look at the ignition and see what's up with that, if it's getting spark. So maybe I'll have it running and I can take it for a ride tonight. But I also don't have any headlights or taillights hooked up on it right now. So we'll see if I get
those?
that. Yeah, I mean, I guess I could just put a headlamp on my head and I don't know, one of those little bicycle blinky lights on the back and call it good. But I don't know.
You should definitely try to work on projects with a blinky light.
Yeah.
Auto repair disco.
No. I mean for the tail light, like one of those little red blinky tail lights you put on a bicycle to let people know, hey, here I am.
Yeah, it's like working on your car at a rave.
But I mean, that reminds me, I had a mini bike once when I was in college.
I want a mini bike.
They're pretty fun. Like I bought it from a friend who he had it as a project, and it was sitting like taken apart in his garage or whatever. And I'm like, hey, I'll buy that from you. And I got it running, and I actually commuted with it a couple times because my moped was not running. That was when I just had my moped and my bicycle and my bus pass for transportation. And so, yeah, I mean, the mini bike is a decent commuter vehicle, except when I had it, the carb wasn't always working, so I had to leave the choke on half the time. The brake was just the piece of metal that rubs on the back tire. Zero suspension, and of course no lights. So I put bicycle, battery powered lights on it. But yeah, I don't know. It got me around a couple times when I was needed a vehicle. So, yeah, that's all I've been working on.
Wasn't there a Honda microcar that came with a mini bike?
Yes,
I
think it was called the Honda City Turbo.
That's right.
It was not a K car. It was one step up from a K car. So it had I think it was 1,000 cc motor. I forget if it was a 3 or a 4 cylinder, but with a little turbo. And then the scooter that it came with, it was like a dealer option. You could get, I think it was called a Moto Compo. So motor compact, I think is what it stands for. And so it was basically a little 2-stroke 50cc moped or scooter that would fold up, like the handlebars and the seat and all the controls and everything would fold up, and then you could put it in the trunk of the Honda City car. And the idea was that you can, drive to a congested city, and then if there's traffic, you can park and just get out your little scooter and scoot around town with that. And
that sounds kind of convenient.
I don't know how popular. Yeah. I don't know how well it worked or if it was a popular option, but I don't know if y'all have heard of that Radwood car show, but it's popular among that crowd of folks because it's a little quirky JDM thing from the 80s or early 90s, I forget.
Kind of sounds like what my dad used to do. He had a small Cessna plane, and he also had a Honda CT90.
Oh, cool.
1968 or something, trail bike. And so it was sort of collapsible in that you could take it apart on the front frame. And so he would fold it up into the plane and then use it wherever they were landing, which is kind of a fun idea.
Yeah, that is cool. I see a lot of folks will do that with RVs. They'll put a little motorcycle or moped or whatever on the back of their RV.
Or just pile a mountain of mopeds on top of the RV.
Yes. Well, Chris, I think you'd said you're not working on any project cars, but what have you been working on with the DSA lately? I think you said Medicare for All mostly.
Yeah, primarily the Medicare for All campaign. Some things with the local, but mostly the national. As you know, I've been able to. COVID's been kind of crappy. It's been harder to get engaged, which seems weird given how ubiquitous Zoom is. But we were talking about this earlier. Just harder to get engaged. That said, though, with the campaign, we're keeping up the pressure on legislators for Medicare for All at the national level. A lot of our focus, though, is on state level programs like what's going on in New York and California with the New York Health Act, and I think it's Healthy California, whatever their legislation is called, along with supporting health justice work with DSA chapters across the country.
Yeah, is there some public option thing going around in Colorado? Because I got some mailer saying don't support this public option thing.
It's a disgusting mailer. I was looking at the same one, I think, earlier today. It's the one that says, during this critical time, Coloradans can't afford to pay more to create a new state government-controlled health insurance system. And it's infuriating because it comes from Colorado's healthcare future, which is just a state-level entity for the Partnership for America's Healthcare Future, which is, as you may have guessed, it's a bunch of for-profit hospital networks that don't want universal or single-payer healthcare because their profits will be undermined by that.
Wait, are you trying to say that corporations don't have my best interest at heart?
They don't, astonishingly. But on this mailer, it's really insidious because they're like, oh, state government option is going to cause hospitals to close, and the hospitals that are at higher risk for closure are serving Black, Latinx, Native American residents. Fucking HCA doesn't give a shit about them. I work with HCA professionally, and this is not just HCA. Everybody in for-profit healthcare does this, but talking about payer mix, just like, well, you've got to go where the payer mix is good, which literally just means no poor people. It means people, if you're people who are self-paying, they're wealthy, or they have employer insurance and not government insurance. It's because those pay more to the providers, to the hospitals. And the hospitals, of course, feed this by cranking up their profits. They charge 4-5 times as much as it costs them to provide care. And then they say that we can't afford to pay more. They're the one fucking causing prices to go up. Sorry, is this a swearing podcast?
Oh yeah. Yes, definitely.
Zach beat me to it.
Couldn't let it go to waste.
If we couldn't curse on the podcast, I would quit. I can't do that.
Yeah, I can't even, I don't even know when I'm cursing most of the time. I got a potty mouth just talking about it. And I'm scared when I'm around kids because I'm just like, oof, I don't ever police my language, so I have no idea what I'm saying.
Yeah, I've gotten beef, or I've gotten shit from my family for cursing in front of grandma. I didn't really know that I was doing that, but sorry, grandma, if you're listening.
When I closed down my business and actually had to find another job, there was a lot of discussion with my friends on how I was going to possibly get through a job interview without just completely alienating the person interviewing me. And it turns out the secret is to get a blue-collar job where the person interviewing you is also doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clever.
Yeah. All you got to do is deal with a whole shit ton of reactionaries, and then it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I can say that's good times. Good times. Well, if we're going alphabetical, Connor, what have you been working on lately?
Not too much. Both cars still in the shop, because, neither of them are really high priority, which is fine. I have that kind of relationship with the shop I'm going to, and I'm working from home. So, things aren't too serious. Although, recently we did at work get the date we're supposed to be back in the office, and that's June 1st. So at the time I was like, well, whatever. I let my boss know, hey, my car's totally, completely taken apart at the shop, and it's been there since early February. I'm like, I may need an extra couple weeks or a month or something, just, as a heads up. I might not have reliable transportation yet. And I'm figuring, hey, I've been working from home for a month. What's the fucking difference? You can wait another month, right? Just this week, my boss kind of got back to me, and he's like, he's telling me, he goes, hey, gotta tell you, man, management seems to be chomping at the bit to get back in the office. So he's like, I'm pretty sure their answer is going to be, get to work, take an Uber, do what you got to do, but get to work. And I was like, fuck. So that was not great news. There's a chance that my car
to another state.
Yes, at least I didn't do that yet. But yeah, so we're going to have to go back in the office. Now I have options. I can drive my Camaro because presumably that'll have passed the emissions test, or even if it doesn't, I'll drive it with, expired plates on it, whatever. I can get to work, although I was trying to not tell them that I had other options. I was kind of just withholding that. So it seems like I'm going to have to find a way to, get there somehow.
As a last resort, one potential option that you have is just to let your boss know that he can go fuck himself.
Mm-hmm. Well, so here's kind of the thing. The company I work for sold
can all go fuck themselves. No, I get it.
Yeah, they whatever. They're a quote unquote family owned or whatever, sort of. It's mostly just nepotism and, capitalists being shitty capitalists, but like they were tolerable.
It's a weird way to pronounce petty tyrant.
Yes.
Like Walmart's family owned, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're a bunch of rich fucks, whatever. But they were easy enough to deal with, and they weren't too like whatever. They sold to this conglomerate who has a history of like turning these companies into just hellholes. And I'm like, so I'm back on the job market. I'm like looking for the door because it's probably going to get bad. But it's apparently this company that purchased our company that is like trying to get people back in the office. Like they've had their people back in since September. They did not give a fuck about coronavirus.
Wow.
Yeah, they didn't give 2 fucks. And they're now like trying to get us back in the office. And that's why my boss was like, hey, this company, they want people back in the office and they're not really interested in excuses. And he's like, we've been trying to like kind of hold back on this. And he's like, it ain't flying with them. So, that sucks. I have to go back to the office. I'm really not happy about it because I like working in my pajamas and not commuting every day. Like, man, I love driving.
What is so important about the office? Is it just the control aspect that they're enthusiastic
100%.
about?
Yeah, 100%. It's, someone else was saying he's just one of those people that like wants to come in and see an office full of people. He's that kind of like tyrant that just like wants to know that, oh, there are people who are under my thumb who drive to this place to generate me money and then they go back home to their miserable lives. Like that's what he wants. Ugh. He wants to know that like we're coerced into this situation where, his subjects are being forced to bow down and do whatever. So that's the kind of person he is. So great. So yeah, there's a good chance my car will be ready before then. I have a final, like a tuning day set up for like late May, where I'm going to have my base tune put on. And
this is for the Z, right?
Yeah, this is for the Z. So there's a good chance my car will be done. I did tell my engine guy, like, hey, I'm getting some pressure to get back in the office, so I may need to speed this up. So there's a chance I'll make it, but there's a chance I won't. And whatever. I'll drive the Camaro. I'll drive my partner's car because she's going to be working from home for a little bit longer. So I have options, but I'm not happy about any of them. I really liked not commuting to work because, it's like, hey, there's an extra like 2 hours to my fucking day that I'm not giving to some capitalist for free. Fucking love it. But, that's life. Capitalism sucks, obviously. So it's back to that bullshit.
I don't know. Other news, I like that capitalism provides me the freedom to pick any healthcare option that my boss provides me.
Yeah, it is wonderfully empowering.
Yeah. Which
I feel empowered being able to pick from one choice.
Yeah, by the way, the company I work for has always had dog shit insurance options where I'm just like, this is so much fucking money. And I'm like, this isn't even a fucking benefit until you see what it costs without them. And then you're like, right. Okay, yeah, this is a benefit, I guess. Fuck. But the company that bought us, which is enormous, has like, I can't remember. I at the plans I was looking at, I was like, oh my God, they're actually worse or like the same. And I'm like, but you're like fucking 10 times the size. How the fuck could you have worse? So, yeah, the choices of capitalists seem to affect my personal life a lot more than, Turning Point USA would like me to believe.
Yo, that CEO needed a bonus, and the money had to come from somewhere.
Ain't that the truth? So aside from all that, which is just me griping about having to go back to the office, I finally found some headlights for the Z because, my driver's side headlight has been completely shattered for, I don't know, a few months, a year. I don't remember anymore. But I found some good headlights that aren't like cheesy Amazon headlights, which is like what I've been trying to avoid. And it's, for some reason, I just was having a hard time finding good headlights. So I finally found some at a decent price, and I'm gonna pull the trigger on that, and I'll have those going too. So that's all I've got really. But yeah, I was happy to find that.
Cool. I guess that makes it my turn.
That's what you get for starting with a Z, Zach.
I know. I really
on yourself.
I really fucked up when I chose this name.
Yeah.
I'm going to change it to Aaron with like 3 A's at the beginning. Fuck you. I'm in front of everyone.
We don't have any
It's already
other
got
Aarons.
two.
You can go with 1 or 2 A's if you want.
No, I'm extending it to all aspects of my life. I'm going to be front of the line for everything. My name is Aaron Aronson. There's 3 A's in both.
You know what really sucks for you, Zach?
What's that?
Brandon starts with 4 A's, but they're all silent.
Damn. Well played, sir. Well played.
And instead of an R, there's a $sign.
Pronounced as an R, though.
Yes.
Interesting.
My life, my rules.
Fair enough.
All of the H's in Brandon are silent.
All of the H's in Brandon.
I'd like to see how this is spelled. I'm having trouble visualizing this.
The B is the 12th letter of the name. Well, the first B.
No matter how ridiculous you make this name, it's not going to be as ridiculous as Elon Musk's stupid kid's name.
Axolotl or whatever it is.
Well, the thing is, though, that got rejected. Like, the court said you can't name a kid that. So he actually has a normal name on paper.
Oh, does he?
I think so.
Oh, that's got to be devastating.
Because the court was like, because it was a literal impossibility. You can't name a kid something so that when they turn 16 or 18 and have to go get a state ID, that the DMV is just like, we can't type this in.
Oh, wow.
Wow,
Yeah,
I
like
never even
it
thought about
created
that.
actual bureaucratic hurdles that prevented him from being able to do it.
Frankly, I'm shocked he didn't just petition like the government to change the rule for him and somehow win that petition.
Well, the reason I don't feel certain on my position is that could have happened.
Well, I think he would have done is he would have lobbied to have Tesla print the IDs, just to privatize it, like every fucking other thing.
I'm sure they're in talks.
Yeah.
And those ID cards would have lithium batteries in them for some reason.
Oh, that's yeah.
And every time you used your ID, it would actually like show up at like Tesla headquarters that you used your ID.
Yeah, it would do over-the-air updates to your ID.
I would go out drinking when I didn't even want to because my ID's on autopilot.
All right, that was good.
Thanks. Oh, Zach, I completely fucked up your thing. Like, what are you working on this week?
Oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that. Sorry. I'm here and I'm awake, I swear. I'm currently fucking just waiting on parts for the Audi. I don't know if we went over the most recent update with the mechanical cam adjuster on that one. I think I mentioned it before.
Oh, so it's like the cam phaser, like for variable valve timing sort of deal, or?
Yeah, basically. So it can like actively change your degrees of timing.
Uh-huh. Oh, I thought you had transmission issues. I don't know why I thought that.
That was like 10 issues ago, man. Stay up to date.
Well, if you're anything like me, the issues don't go away. They just stack.
Yeah, I haven't been able to make the car move under its own power in quite a while. So for all I know, there are transmission issues.
Dude, I feel like I'm only a few days away from being unable to move myself under my own power. So, I get it.
I feel you there for sure. Yeah, but I'm just waiting on that for now. It's just a back ordered part. Ordered it last week. Should be here Wednesday. So hopefully that comes in and I can do some more wrenching on that thing. Hopefully get it out of my hair soon because I bought another car.
Yo, is this the kit car?
Oh, yay.
This is not the kit car. It is actually way cooler than a kit car because it's a 93 Ford fucking Ranger.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Someone in this podcast bought something practical.
I know, right? It hurt me a little bit to do, but I got it done. It's not winning any beauty pageants. It was $2,800, but it's relatively low miles, and it's actually a decent truck. I'm gonna sound like a huge hypocrite. I'm gonna sound like a huge hypocrite, seeing as how we had that car pet peeves episode.
Yeah.
And I talk shit about fake beadlocks and lifted trucks, but it's got a 5.5-inch lift, 33s, and fake beadlocks.
Sick.
It is.
Okay, well, you got to do something about the fake beadlocks, but I don't actually hate lifted trucks. I just hate it as like a trend to do to your $80,000 truck.
Oh yeah, it's
it
absurd,
works for a Ranger.
It's pretty cool on the Ranger. I think it works. I'm also definitely going to beat the shit out of it on some trails because I'm not letting that lift go to waste. It's got a bull bar on it right now that's got about 2 out of 6 bolts in it.
I used to own a lifted
Probably
Toyota pickup. I can't shit on this.
It's pretty cool. I need to get some pictures of it. I just got it into my possession yesterday, so I haven't had a time to get any good snapshots of it. But I'll put them up in the Slack, and maybe we'll throw them up on the Instagram.
What I like about this is like when I see like an F350 or some Ram whatever, my first thought is, all right, cool, your parents have money. When I see a Ranger or an S10, I'm like, yeah, you actually do stuff with your time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yup.
Yeah, that was like the way I found this truck was Craigslist 4x4 pickup, lowest price first. And this is the first one that came up that didn't have like a major issue, like a bent valve or a leaking transmission or, something catastrophic. Because I just needed a work truck that I could get this weekend and start to drive Monday, basically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. One of my favorite things to do is go on Craigslist and put the year range as 1960 to 1975 and the price cap at like $6,000.
And look at all one results.
No, you might. Dude, I haven't paid more than $6,000 for a vehicle ever.
That is shocking to me. It seems like everything pre-1975 is just astronomical prices.
My Cutlass is the most expensive thing I own at $4,500.
Damn.
Well, I only buy shit heaps that need everything, and then I'm like, it's cool. I can fix all that for $100. And then, like, $4,000 later, you're like, this was a mistake.
See, that's the thing. I see shit heaps for like $4,000 to $5,000, and I'm like, what? What are you doing? It's got rust holes in it and no tires. And they're like, I know what I got. I'm like,
yeah,
I know what you got too. It's garbage.
It depends on the market you're in. You guys are in that Denver market, and that's starting to get a bit pricier. It's the same in Chicago, where it's like you can find a real shit heap for thousands of dollars, and it's like but other places it's a lot cheaper. So
absolutely, Denver's like going crazy right now. I'm really, really hoping I can turn this kit car around before this bubble eventually pops with all like the new tech people coming in, because I know one of those dudes is into
Shelby kit cars,
and I'm gonna just load it off on something like that.
So I forgot if we talked about this last time. Did you get the kit car? Is it in your possession, or was this something that you're planning on doing, or what's the plan with that?
It's not yet in my possession, but I got an update from the guy I'm buying it from. So it was his dad's car, who lived in Nevada. And he just had it sitting in the warehouse. He passed away last year, and now it's just been like a huge bureaucratic process for my buddy to get possession of his estate, essentially, so he can legally move things off the property and things like that. But he's got legal possession of it now, and someone is coming up from Nevada possibly in August and was offering to bring the car up with them when they came. So latest possible date I'll get it is August. If he decides he's not going to come up to Denver, then I'll probably just go down there and get it sometime this summer.
Okay.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a done deal as far as, it's my car, handshake deal. it's just a matter of whether or not I can have this guy just bring it up here, and then I don't have to make the trip.
Yeah.
So just waiting to see where that goes.
And what kit car is this, Zach?
This is a 1965 Shelby Cobra 427 Cobra Jet.
Nice. Okay.
Kit car.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah, those are cool.
It is very cool, and the guy's got just loads of stuff in this warehouse. Custom Harleys, a trike, side by side. Like, the guy just bought shit and put it in this warehouse, I guess. And so my buddy was like, "Yeah, man, you just take it off my hands. I don't need to be messing around with it." So I'm getting a pretty sweet deal on it. I'm pretty
blue with
pretty
white
excited.
stripes. Did they come in other colors?
This one's actually red right now, and I'm very intentionally not going to paint it blue with white stripes.
Yeah.
Good.
I can't do it. I can't bring myself to.
And Zach, which motor does the Ranger have?
It's the 4-liter V6, actually.
Okay.
It's the biggest one they had for that year model. I don't know a ton about Rangers, to be honest. I just needed a truck, and so I bought it, and now I'm learning.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot either. I just when I was looking to turbocharge my Miata, I had a bunch of turbo hardware that I ended up selling to a guy with a Ranger with the 2.3 liter that he was going to put the turbo on that. So if you had the 2.3, I was going to say you should put a turbo on it, but I think you'll be fine with the V6.
No, I still think I should put a turbo on it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, in that case, I still have a Mega Squirt ECU and a big old intercooler if you want to buy that from me.
Oh, hell yeah.
Before you go turbo, you should see if a 460 will fit in it.
I mean, I own a Sawzall and a hammer, so there's no way it can't.
Also, how cool are you with getting 6 miles to a gallon downhill?
Is the trade-off that I have a 460?
Yes.
Then I'm very, very cool with that.
Well, cool. Or you could just buy my shitty old moped that doesn't run. But
that's always on the table. I will never take that off the table. We need to do some discussion on some price here.
Yeah. We'll talk off air.
You could definitely tempt me into it.
It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
This growing dysfunction is built into an economic structure that institutionalizes barbarism.
All right. I don't know who's here, but I'm back.
Hey, Zach. I'm still here.
Hey, Connor.
Tell me more about this fucking Ranger, because I'm always like looking for little pickup truck stuff as a potential daily, but then I'm always turned off by the prices.
Yeah, I got such a good deal on this. I think, like I said, I've had it for a day. It's definitely got some fucking problems. Like, It's not perfect. I was a dumbass and ran out of gas on the highway. Right after I bought it, which sucks. So luckily my roommate was driving me over to pick it up, and then I had her run to a gas station and get me just a gas can so I could fill it up and get to a gas station. And I go to fucking fill it up, and it just starts pissing fuel all over the shoulder of the highway.
No. Oh no.
Just like all over I was like, fuck, dude. Like, I bought this truck and there's a hole in the fucking gas tank. I got swindled like so hard. And then I just realized that the stupid safety tip thing for the gas can wasn't going down far enough.
Oh, dude, those are the worst. They're the worst.
It's so fucking dumb. It doesn't keep anything safe. It just fucks my life over.
No,
my only option was just to dump fuel and hope that some of it hit the tank.
Oh no! Oh my god! Yeah, that change was
so ridiculous.
By the EPA
anyway,
is one of the worst things they've ever done. I think
I was super laggy. Shit.
Yeah, a little bit. Oh well.
But yeah, no, those safety cans are fucking stupid. But I got it to a gas station, luckily, and got some fuel in it, and it's fine. It just needed the fuel to hit further down in the neck.
Yeah.
And it was no issue whatsoever.
Sweet.
I totally forgot to mention it earlier. This thing has some of the best, like, custom aftermarket features I have ever seen. Dude, the R is gone on one of the Ranger symbols, so it says anger. The other one's gone and has been replaced with a D, so that side says danger.
Love it.
Oh my god.
It's got the fucking post locks in the door, you know, just like the straight post that pops up. Those are bullets.
Oh yeah.
My headlight switch
It's
is
got-
a bullet.
Oh yeah, bro. It's got a blue dome light in the truck, so you flip on that dome light, you got some nice ambiance in there. And it's got green reverse
Wait,
lights.
what color is the dome light?
It's blue. It's a
Fucking
nice soft blue.
Zach, are you back in the blue on us?
Oh god, dude. I'm gonna go smash that dome light. Don't even. That makes me sick to my stomach, dude. Think about. God. I'm changing it to red.
So green reverse lights?
Yeah, green, and it's the bulbs. The dude told
so
me
weird.
about it.
What?
The dude told me about it, so I go around the back to look. I figured somebody just like sprayed or like filmed over, you know,
Yeah, just
the housing.
a lens covered thing, yeah.
No.
Oh,
There are green bulbs. I was like, I'm buying this truck for sure. This has sold me.
If we're being honest, I don't know what color any of my backup lights are because I don't own a single vehicle where those work.
I mean, did they have backup lights? Like, when did that start becoming a thing? Like,
I think
not
all
until like
of-
the 70s, right?
I think all of my cars have them. I know the Cutlass has them, and they're just not wired up.
I'm trying to think about the old cars that I've had and if they even had reverse lights, because I don't think the Falcon did.
My Cutlass wasn't legally required to have seat belts, I don't think.
Oh, my Falcon wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very interesting truck. I'll get pictures of all the cool shit on it. Maybe after we get off the call, and I'll throw them up so you guys can see the beauty of this machine.
It sounds
amazing.
fantastic. Yeah.
How much lift did you say it has?
5.5 inches.
But those are such small trucks. That actually doesn't sound unreasonable. Does it look wild or?
It doesn't look all that wild sitting by itself, but once you put it next to any like normal car that you're like familiar with the size of, it looks absurd.
That's
It's
the way my Toyota was. Fair enough.
It's parked next to my brother-in-law's Subaru Outback, which is, you know, a relatively small car. You know, it's not like an SUV or anything. But after having my Subaru WRX parked next to that Outback, it dwarfs that car. It makes his Outback look tiny.
And the reason you're not driving the WRX is just you want some kind of a beater to take to job sites and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you guys know, like, I work construction. I'm a carpenter by trade. I think I
Okay.
heard Chris here, just to catch you up.
Right on.
Yeah, and I've been
Carpent.
I carpent. Yep, I do the carpenting. So I've just been throwing tools and supplies and shit into the back of my WRX hatchback for the past like 3 years, and it's pretty rough.
Convenient and practical. Wow.
It is. It's just not great for a car that when I bought was like very clean and nice. It makes me sad to do that to that car. And yeah, I had a little cash, so I also was kind of in some hot water with my driver's license. Pretty close to having it removed from me, so I thought the most prudent thing to do was buy a slow
Go
car.
slower. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I realized that probably the reason that I never get pulled over isn't, in fact, that I look scary or old or anything like that, but rather the way I was calculating my speed based on RPMs was so wrong that I'm never speeding.
You're just like, damn, bro, I'm going 15 over. And they're like, why is this asshole going 5 under? What's his problem?
It basically boils down to when I thought I was going 10 over, I was going the speed limit.
Nice.
That would not have stopped me from speeding because I regularly did a lot more than 10 over.
Dude, I leave for work at 5:30 in the morning. So when I fire up my like small block with headers, It's like anxiety inducing because it's just so loud. I'm just like, please just get me to work again today. I think I might need a daily that doesn't have fucking headers.
I say you just stack like 10 resonators behind it and just see what that sounds
Well,
like.
no, because remember, I'm driving a van. The headers are basically like 3 inches away from me.
I think that's
like
one more reason.
The engine is like, even in like the later vans, the engine's halfway in the van.
When we go to work, we check our hard-won rights at the door, and your employers rule over you night and day.
With the last words on my lips, I am a revolutionary.
And now it's time for us to get into the news. For a little teaser on my end, we might touch base on the trouble that Lordstown Motors is in right now. That's a little electric truck company taking over a GM plant that yours truly is working for a company that has landed a contract with. So I'm still doing my research and everything, but hopefully here before too long, we're going to have a little inside baseball on the shit show that is Lordstown Motors, the electric truck company scam. Now I think Connor's going to lead us in with the actual news for the day.
Yeah, I got some stories again, as usual. I've always got a good story about Elon Musk because he makes news all the time because he's a fucking dum-dum. So naturally he's going to be featured in yet another news episode. Maybe one day we'll do an episode without him, but in this case, we're gonna talk about a Tesla crash that occurred in Texas very recently. So basically what happened, not all the facts are out yet. So, some of this is, we're waiting on more information to come out. But as of right now, investigators are, of course, still quote unquote gathering the facts. But what we seem to know at this point, is that in Texas, a 2019 Tesla Model S went off the road and crashed into a tree and caught on fire, killing 2 passengers. Now, the investigators determined that no one was in the driver's seat at the time of the crash. So, we all know that, Tesla's got that sort of kind of self-driving technology. And so presumably somebody was using that. They made probably a pretty dumb decision to not be in the driver's seat. So that's on them. And what else do you expect from some people? Are dumb, man. Just in general, human beings were dumb. And so, yeah, that happened. But
as
of course,
a dumb person can verify.
Yeah, well, in this case, it still looks really bad for Tesla. This is not great because, again, they've got this big reputation. They shouldn't because Elon Musk's a fucking idiot, but this doesn't look good. So naturally, Elon Musk comes out right away after this was reported, and he's just like, no, that's not possible. Like, nope, that's impossible. And it's just like, well, I mean, there was no one in the driver's seat, bud. I don't know what the fuck you want to say about that, but there was no one in the driver's seat. So I don't know how the car was driving with no one in the driver's seat if allegedly there was no self-driving feature. So he's full of shit as usual. I guess because he wants to make it look like his systems aren't, buggy and, really crappy. So back into the story a little bit. 2 people were killed, and so the police were able to determine that 1 passenger was in the front passenger seat and 1 passenger was in the back seat. Obviously, no one in the driver's seat. So Musk, of course, says it was impossible, and he did make a tweet on the matter, which I will read briefly. Okay, here it is. Sorry. So someone kind of, said on Twitter, oh, this doesn't make sense. There's safety measures in place for the Autopilot. And the seat is weighted to, keep that in mind, So the autopilot is, seat weighted to make sure that there is a driver. Hands must be on the steering wheel every 10 seconds or it disengages. And autopilot doesn't go over speed limits. Over the speed. Oh, this is a terrible tweet. Over speed limits is impossible. So this was someone replying to early reports of this, and Elon Musk responded to it. And what he says is, your research as a private individual is better than professionals at Wall Street Journal. Data logs recovered so far show autopilot was not enabled, and this car did not purchase FSD, which is full self-driving capability. So I will explain the difference between those in just a moment.
Can we go back for a second? I have a question.
Sure.
Did you say that autopilot cuts off if your hands aren't on the wheel every 10 seconds?
Yes.
So does that mean that it cuts off if you're not driving it?
Supposedly, yes. Yes.
I'm going to go on a limb and say that's not a good safety feature.
Exactly. You're like, well,
if you're not going to drive, I'm not going to drive. The car.
Yeah. So, that's one of those things that you're just like, well, wait, what is it supposed to do? And he does say, Elon Musk did kind of come out. He's like, oh, well, the autopilot won't turn on if you're on a street that doesn't have lane markers. So like lines on the street, it can't like read. So it'll shut off. And I'm like, well, I mean, what the fuck do you think happens when it shuts off? If it's moving, it's, which again, there's no reason to believe that this car was like, oh, they just flipped on the autopilot. They could have driven 50 miles with it on. I have no idea, but like, obviously the car fucked up. I mean, there's no way around that. The car fucked up, and Elon Musk is like, no, it didn't. It's like, well, it did. The car, there was no one in the driver's seat. The car crashed. It's kind of on your car there.
Show that Teslas have had problems in the past.
Well, listeners can go back in our previous episodes. So,
well, I'm just thinking of all the crashes that I've heard about. Has anybody survived to discuss it?
Yeah, they have. I think, pretty sure.
I'm joking because fuck Tesla.
Yep, fuck them. So, then his tweet continues. So he's like, oh, data logs were recovered and they said the autopilot wasn't on. Moreover, standard autopilot would require lane lines to turn on, which the street did not have. So I'd like to also point out that Musk in this tweet didn't correct this person who responded to the Wall Street Journal about how the autopilot requires someone to be in the driver's seat. Fun fact, that's not fucking true. That's not true. And Consumer Reports actually confirmed that.
Yeah,
so
but how could you possibly get around that? You would have to like sit something in the driver's seat that weighed enough to trick it. Where the fuck are you supposed to find something that weighs like 80 or 90 pounds? I dare you to go into your house right now and find anything that weighs that much. You can't do it. It's not real. Yours is flat.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, I also wanted to like take a minute to just like point out and ask the question, why is it that Elon Musk has this fucking evidence and like the police don't? Because it's like, oh, well, I've determined that the autopilot wasn't on, and you're like, well,
oh, I know the answer to this. I know the answer. The police don't have that information because he won't give it to them.
Exactly. So, very convenient that the oligarch here is the one withholding evidence. I'm sure he's not going to be charged with obstruction of justice or anything like that, naturally. But yeah, so that's wonderful. The oligarchs are in charge as usual, and so Tesla Autopilot and full self-driving are not capable of controlling the electric vehicles in all normal driving circumstances. And the company's owner's manuals caution drivers to only use them with active supervision. Okay? So Autopilot, which is now standard in Tesla vehicles, does not always perfectly identify lane markers. So, for example, it can confuse sealed cracks in the road or bike lanes with other lane markers. So these systems are really fucking buggy, even when they're working. And it's just like, dude, I don't think this is ready to be out on the fucking road if it like can't tell what lines are and shit. Like, and their manual
Just
is
give
like,
us more control.
yeah. And so, there's all these different like rules about when it's supposed to be used and everything. And I actually read through them and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is really confusing. Like the way these systems work is like under these very specific circumstances where it'll work. And it's like, yeah, that's not full self-driving, dude. That's like, you have no idea when this is going to kick on or kick off or whatever. It seems really, really rough. So I did actually look up what, according to Tesla, what the difference between autopilot and full self-driving is, because, theoretically the words mean the same thing. So here's what I got. Autopilot is traffic-aware cruise control, so it matches the speed of your car to that of surrounding traffic. What was that?
Oh, well, that's actually what I was going to say. Like, I 100% see why that's confusing, and I would confuse it, but I also know what autopilot is in a plane, which is just maintaining speed and altitude. So I kind of understand that makes sense. It's also, like, egregiously misleading to, like, market it that way.
Oh, yeah.
Up to and including to the point that it is fatal.
Yeah. I think
It's
a lot
just
of
adaptive cruise control, right?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. A lot of car companies just call it advanced or adaptive cruise control, right?
Yep.
I've driven
so that's
one
all it
car
is.
that has that, and I hated it more than life itself.
Oh yeah, I hate anything like that. I don't like anything where the car comes in and like overrides what I'm doing in a car. I hate it. Even
so
the limited,
intrusive.
like, yeah, I don't even like traction control. Like that feels fucking weird to me. I'm like, oh my god, the car is braking. Something's happening.
I know. How am I supposed to do burnouts with traction control, you fuckers?
Exactly. So, the autopilot feature has one other thing, and they call it auto steer. So it assists in steering within a clearly marked lane and uses traffic-aware cruise control, which is the thing above, which we just fucking talked about. So there's two fucking things to this. It's basically adaptive cruise control and light correction on your steering, which most manufacturers have. So there's nothing special about this. The full self-driving capability is, the same autopilot features, but it has navigate on autopilot, so it'll actively guide your car. And here's how it describes it. From a highway's on-ramp to off-ramp, I guess, including suggesting lane changes, navigating interchanges, automatically engaging the turn signal, and making the correct exit. So it can take you on the highway from this point to that point, which is pretty much the easiest driving.
You have to approve the lane changes?
So here's the
that
next
just
feature.
Sounds like adaptive cruise control with extra steps.
Well, hold on. So the next fucking thing it has is auto lane change. So it'll assist in moving to an adjacent lane on the highway when auto steer is engaged. And it's like, so will it suggest you change lanes, or is it going to fucking do it for you? I don't, like, what is the difference there? How does it decide when to do what? Just seems weird to me.
It's just opening a dialogue. It's just trying to have a conversation.
Just asking questions.
God damn it.
Then so it's the other features. It's got auto park, pretty self-explanatory.
And I think we posted this in the last news episode we did. I think we posted this link in the comments. But there was that one guy that was trying to use the self-driving to navigate like a city center, and it was totally not working at all. It would just freeze up and stop in the middle of the lane, basically.
I love it.
But I saw another article about this crash, and they said that the firefighters, it took them like 30,000 gallons of water to put out the fire because it was the lithium-ion battery.
Oh, yeah. So
and
so there is actually some reporting on that, and it does seem that there was some kind of sources that were not quite correct. So
Some kind
they
of what?
played it. So there was a lot of talk that like, oh, the fire raged
okay.
for like 4 hours or something. That's really not accurate. What happened was the fire department got the fire under control pretty quickly. But then what happened was, you know, a little more fire would kind of start from the battery here and there. So like every once in a while, like it would kind of flare up again, but they did have it under control.
Gotcha.
It really wasn't. Yeah. So there were some articles out there that made it sound like it was a lot more dangerous than it actually was. So that's something to kind of keep in mind, that like, you know, yeah, these batteries do contain extra risks over combustion engines in some respects. They're not like something to be deathly scared of either. I mean, it's
Okay.
you know, yeah. So there was some early misunderstanding of really what was going on. So the fire chief kind of came out and clarified later.
That makes
Besides,
sense.
we really don't
'Cause
have to lie or exaggerate to fully articulate what a piece of shit Elon Musk is and what shitty cars Teslas are.
Yup.
If we have to lie to
anyway,
make you hate something, we're basically the government.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, no, we can be honest here. So it's not the worst thing, and I don't want to like besmirch all electric vehicles for this. This is really just the system problem with Elon Musk, and they're putting these systems out way too fucking early. Like they're just not ready. So, you know, more features of the full self-driving kind of quickly are just auto park, pretty self-explanatory. Summon, which will basically your car will move from a parking spot and come pick you up in a parking lot. And, you know...
Do you have to be in the driver's seat touching the wheel for that too?
No, that is obviously... Exactly. So I don't know how it operates that way when Elon Musk says it's impossible, but... Then it's also got, it can identify, you know, simple traffic signs and stuff. So it'll identify stop signs and traffic lights and automatically slows your car to a stop on approach with your active supervision, quote unquote.
Okay, I feel like we're kind of burying the lead on the full self-driving thing too. So one thing that we seriously need to address is if you were shit-faced hammered and you have full self-driving on, you still get a DUI, which negates the need for it to begin with.
Yes. Well, and it's not capable. I mean, it's really full, like maybe if you said kind of self-driving, that wouldn't be a lie, but like to call this full self-driving is like, he should be in jail just for that alone. That's such a fucking misnomer. It's outrageous that he gets away with marketing this, because you read what it can do and you're like, oh, okay, so it's like, I mean, you know, it's like a toddler taking their first steps and you being like, oh, baby's going to be an Olympian one day. You're like, you don't fucking know that. Elon Musk is doing the same thing with his self-driving technology here.
It's like when you're in school and like a 60 might be a D, but it's still passing. That's what they mean when they say full self-driving. Like 60% tops.
Exactly.
Here's my prediction, all right? We're going to learn that what really happened wasn't that full self-driving failed. It was that they've secretly been developing ejector seats, and those just spontaneously deployed. And that's what actually caused the accident.
Man.
The driver got Tyrese Gibson in Too Fast, Too Furious. The Tesla said ejectocito, cuz, and then he was out of there.
Teslas are slowly, it's becoming go-go gadget Tesla.
Yeah, oh, that's what Tesla is. That is like the most defining feature. Go-go gadget capitalism right there.
The next fatality that we're going to learn about from Tesla is somebody got their head cut off because it deployed a helicopter blade.
You know, getting back to kind of what was going on, a few days after this crash, and Elon Musk denying all this shit, Consumer Reports came out with a video and a report on how easy it is to actually use the Tesla Autopilot with no one in the driver's seat, proving everything that he denied like totally fucking wrong. They set out to see if they could engage the Autopilot, and the on its Model Y with no one in the driver's seat. It successfully did so on the organization's, closed course test track. So the car drove up and down the half-mile lane of our track repeatedly, never noting that no one was in the driver's seat, never noting that no one was touching the steering wheel, and never noting that there was no weight on the seat. So if you remember correctly from that original tweet, this person's like, oh, they got a weight sensor in the seat. And blah, blah, blah. No, they don't. No, they don't. Just straight up, no, they don't. What they did to make this work, they did have technically, there was weight on the steering wheel. So they put, and this I found very strange, they use a chain with like a roll of masking tape to it, like attached to the one side of the wheel. So like where you might put one hand if you were driving, which seems a little bit heavy to me to not like turn the car. So it's like, which also makes me think, I'm like, okay, so is it like the wheel turns a little bit and the car's just like, no, no, you don't get to do that. I'm like, oh, all right. So that feels weird to me because I don't know. It's not a lot of weight, but I don't know. It looks like a little bit. I'm like, I'd like my steering to be reactive enough that if there's a little bit of a tension on it, it would start to fucking turn. So apparently with Teslas, nah. So it seems like they must
for
have
some reason that just pulled an image into my mind of when everyone is avoiding that big ass pothole on the highway, so there's just a stream of traffic actually going around it because everybody's like, oh, they moved around it, I'll follow them. Tesla's just fucking blowing right through it and bouncing out of it because it doesn't know that it's there, so it's just like, I'm gonna drive in a straight line, boom.
Watch what you say. They're going to start putting potholes on those fucking image captures.
Oh, God. Notify which one of these has a pothole in it.
Oh, man. As a slight aside, did y'all see where there was somebody who was having like a bunch of problems with their Tesla because it kept coming to a stop at this random spot on a road? And eventually what they were able to figure out is that there was a billboard like up and to the right that has a stop sign on it.
Yep, I did see that.
Yeah, yes. It's so funny.
I also saw where someone changed a road sign with like some tape to say instead of like 35 miles an hour, 85 miles an hour.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
It's a vehicle that just takes control away from you and then gives it back without warning in either case.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. This is way better.
I love that because it's just going to accelerate wildly until it realizes you're not paying attention and then it quits.
Go back to you.
Yeah. So again, just Tesla's such a joke. Elon Musk is a fucking idiot. He's not an innovative whatever. He's a rich guy and he's a fucking moron. So that's kind of that story. It was Consumer Reports basically just came out and was like, yeah, no, it's really easy to trick this system. And there's no even really requirement necessary that like, I don't know what these people did to trick the system in the actual crash, but like, it's very clear that these systems are not good. So anything could have happened. There will probably be more information coming out eventually. But yeah, these systems are not really ready for actually working with, actual road conditions. And apparently it does very little to check if there's actually a driver in the seat or not. It's, it's just checking if like the seatbelt's connected and, if the doors are closed and there's some kind of touch pressure on the steering wheel. And that's pretty much all they're doing. So yeah, just,
wow.
I don't know how they put this out thinking that like,
are they going to be allowed to keep withholding the data?
I mean, he's rich, so probably. Almost certainly.
Yeah. I think the question becomes not necessarily allowed, but is going to do it.
Right.
Yeah. There's not much anyone can do about it. So they'll be like, that's illegal. And I'll be like, fuck you. And then we're like, well, all right, I guess.
There's that whole thing like last year where, California was telling him to shut down the factory for coronavirus. And he's like, nope, not going to do it. I'm going to move to Texas if you guys make me do this. Fuck you. and then they just let him. I don't think he even had any sort of penalties or anything. So
Yeah.
Must be nice.
It's almost like
But,
if you have enough money, the law doesn't apply to you.
Yup.
Well, I've got another story here from Texas. If we're moving on from Tesla here.
Yeah.
I don't want to mess with the Texas story.
So this is from Texas Monthly. The headline is they just moved into an Austin neighborhood. Now they want to end one of its traditions. And this is basically about there's a car club of mostly Latino and Black men in this neighborhood of East Cesar Chavez neighborhood in Austin, Texas. And they just built one of these luxury apartment buildings. It looks like one of the 5/1 style or Texas donut style housing developments. Your typical gentrifying housing development. And, they're complaining about these car clubs meeting in the park nearby and like driving their cars and, revving the engines and maybe doing a little burnout here and there. And it's really just the chef kiss emoji of white gentrifying assholes complaining about stuff that doesn't really concern them. So let's see. I'm going to just read a passage here. One particularly vocal tenant, a non-Hispanic white woman with short blonde hair who appeared to be in her 50s and refused to give her name, claimed
Karen.
Yes.
Yes. She claimed that smoke from the tires was killing nearby trees and that traffic from the gathering would make it impossible for an ambulance to reach her in the event of a medical emergency, though 2 other roads to the apartment building remain accessible at all times.
That is so funny. I literally had this exact passage highlighted word for word, just waiting to be like, I gotta bring this up. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is the worst take I have ever heard.
Unbelievable.
Especially
The smoke from the tires is killing the trees. Okay.
Yeah, someone forgot to tell that to my local drift track.
Yeah, that's covered in trees. I'm sure.
The other thing I love that these people always go to medical emergency, like they do the same thing with protesters blocking the streets. What if there's an ambulance? You're like, shut up, stop it with that. It's fucking ridiculous.
I don't need to worry about what if there's an ambulance because I'm already hearing the wambulance.
Yeah, that, and I'm like, hey, most people can't afford the ambulance anyway. What the fuck are you talking about, Richie Rich?
Right?
Yeah, if I'm in trouble, I'm walking my ass to the hospital. I ain't got ambulance money. Fucking Uber to the hospital.
Yeah. So let's see. Here's another good couple things. Another non-Hispanic white tenant had flagged 2 police vehicles and pleaded with officers to disband the celebration, calling it scary. The officers eventually drove off without taking any action.
That's the shocking part of this story.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't just wait in there with beanbag guns.
So it's not fully gentrified, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if wait 5 years and that same call's going to have fatalities.
Yeah.
Yup, unfortunately.
Or I'm sorry, officer involved shootings.
So yeah, I mean, that's basically the whole story, is that just these rich, mostly white folks have moved into this neighborhood and are complaining about the mostly Black and Latino residents just having fun on the weekends with their cars. But yeah, check out the article for more. There's pictures of, there's a guy in a looks like a Hellcat doing a burnout. There's some slabs, which is a pretty cool part of like Texas car culture, which doesn't really make it out of Texas. I think this might be a backronym, but I think SLAB stands for slow, loud, and bangin'. And it's kind of like the Texas version of like donks or lowriders. It's usually like older American cars with a shiny, colorful paint job, and they have these wheels that they call swangers.
Oh, I hate those fucking things so much. Fuck those wheels. They should actually be illegal, and I hate laws, and they should still be fucking illegal.
Are those the ones with they're basically spears coming out?
They stick out from the hub like a foot.
Jeez.
And they're genuinely dangerous to bicyclists and pedestrians.
And sometimes they'll just like fall off the wheels if they're not secured properly. But
I mean, that's the best thing that those things can do, really.
Yeah. But it is kind of an interesting little subculture. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know that at some of the 24 Hours of Lemons races, they'll get the swanger hubcaps and put them on your car as a penalty.
That says everything it can.
But yeah, that's all I have on that story.
Well, then, moving on to more modern vehicles. This is a funny little just a petty little fucking thing, which I found to be funny.
I'm fine with being petty. That's who I am as a person.
Well, so this is major corporations being petty with each other.
Not okay with that.
And you're just like, there's got to be a better way to organize, production than this crap. So the 2021 Toyota GR86, which is what used to be called the GT86, and also used to be called the FRS under the Scion label. So it's changed its name a few times, but for whatever reason, Toyota and Subaru are kind of starting to, I don't know, split. Like, they're still doing this joint car platform, but like, I don't know if they're going to continue it much after this latest generation. But Toyota got a little bit upset with how similar the cars were to each other, which, if you know the cars, the BRZ and the FRS have been like the Camaro and the Firebird, basically, with different company tags. Like, it's the same car, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that.
All modern cars look like jelly beans. That's not a valid complaint.
So, they were originally going to be very similar. They have slightly different styling. Like, they put a little fake vent here that's a little different, or the bumper's a little, has a little revised to set them apart. But apparently, like, someone pretty high up at Toyota was like, they're not different enough, blah, 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 and made a big old fucking stink. So had the engineers rework the car to, like, show up the Subaru, which kind of not a good thing to do with a company like you're in a partnership with. So I would imagine Subaru is probably going to come back with a higher trim model in the next year or two, just to, like, go back and forth, because these fucking stupid capitalists are, at each other's throats for no fucking reason. But here's the big thing. The Toyota GR86 claims 4 more horsepower than the BRZ.
Woo!
4.
Woo!
So
let's get it. That's huge power gains.
Here, the funniest part, they have the exact same torque. So it's like, you're not even going to feel that. Like, that's unnoticeable difference.
So wait,
and that's
what did they just move the red line back by like 50 RPMs? Like, how the fuck does that work?
So here's the other thing. So what they did was they reworked the tune, because that's really all they had time to do before they had to get this car out. So, like, I'm sure they wanted to make more changes, but the guy's like, well, it's not good enough. We want to be different. We want to differentiate our car, even though they're designed to be the fucking same. So they reworked the tune a little bit to squeeze an extra 4 horsepower and 0 torque out of it. And it's like, one, if you take any modern car to a tuner now, easy, they can get you, I don't know, 10 to 20 horsepower. No problem. So, like, they did.
I bet they couldn't do that with mine.
Well, yeah. But they did, like, half of a fucking reasonable tune to get 4 more peak horsepower. So it's like, why all the bullshit to just then come out with 4 fucking horsepower? Like, you're creating problems for your company and costing your company fucking money to do basically nothing. And, that's just, it seems like a goofy ass fucking squabble to be having.
Hate the player, not the game.
Yeah, that's what we're here to do.
No, we're very much here to hate the game, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So, both are going to have a 2.4 liter boxer engine. The BRZ is going to be making 228 horsepower. And the GR86 is going to make 232. So they're both still, they were always a little underpowered. I think they're great looking cars, and they drift, at least the older versions drift really nice right from the factory. But they've always been a little underpowered. So it's kind of almost, they could have come out with a little bit more. They really should have been pushing for, I don't know, another 20 horsepower each would have been probably pretty good. But instead they came out with a little bit less, and then now Toyota's, scrambling to make an extra 4 horsepower. So it was reported that the Toyota boss, Akio Toyoda, allegedly requested changes to the upcoming 86 sports car to better differentiate it from the Subaru it's based on. And it comes down to just that basic little fucking tune.
The owner of Toyota, his name is Akio Toyoda?
It's Toyota.
Ooh, so does that make Toyota a family company?
Probably. No, I don't know. It just says Toyota boss, so that could be.
Yeah, I forget. I think he might be adopted. I think Japanese big industrial companies have this sort of tradition, I guess, where oftentimes the outgoing CEO will adopt the incoming CEO as an adult. I don't fully understand this, and I might be getting this wrong because I haven't looked into it in a while, but I think that's a fairly common thing. So they can say it's like a family company, even though they're not related and they, barely know each other.
All right, Bryant went out hard against adoption. Weird stance. But...
I mean, as an adult, it's a little weird. It's kind of like, what's his name, Matt Gaetz and Nestor, but it's another culture, so who am I to judge their industrial adoption practices, whatever you want to call it.
I think right now Matt
it's
Gaetz
just a weird
adopting someone that's over 18 is not his concern.
God. So capping this one off, there isn't any pricing available yet on either one of these cars, but people are speculating that they're probably going to start a little above 30,000 each. So that's going to be a little bit more than the current ones, which I think lately have been in the 26 to like 28 range. So they're going to be a little more expensive. I don't think they look quite as good, but so these two corporations are battling it out to see who's going to make single digits more horsepower, I guess. Wonderful. Then I've also got a story here on Volkswagen, or should I say Voltswagen?
Volts.
Yeah, for the Volts that would be for their single electric vehicle that they have for sale. So this is pretty funny, and I hope it gets them in lots and lots of trouble. Fingers crossed. But so what happened was, a few days before April Fool's Day, Volkswagen let slip a prepared press release that seemed to announce a name change for all of Volkswagen to be changed to Voltswagen, as in like Volt. I don't know if this is coming through because they sound so similar, but play on words basically. So they kind of like set this thing out, and then they had people come out and go, okay, yeah, we're going to be changing our name. And this was done before April Fool's Day. And people actually believed it. So they promoted it on all their social media and everything. They had a new logo out. And they said, and this is similar to like what GM did, so people believed it. They were going to start marketing more electric vehicles. So people believed this was a reasonable thing that was, real and not a fucking joke. And it turns out it was a joke. And yeah, big publicly traded companies can't make fucking jokes like that. Like not things that are believable that could mislead investors, which, I mean, this so obviously fucking did. So we have no word yet on whether the SEC is going to come after them for this, but admittedly, I'd be pretty fucking shocked if they weren't already pursuing this a little bit. Because yeah, this was like 3 days before April Fool's Day that they like started with this fucking marketing stunt. Following along on Twitter, it was it was a pretty successful marketing stunt. Everyone was talking about it. So you can't do stunts like that where like people actually fucking believe it, and they came out and said that it wasn't a joke. And it was straight up lying. Volkswagen is at the...
can't, but they clearly did.
Yeah, I suppose I should know better than to suggest that, but yes, they did lie. Now apparently they're at the beginning of an $86 billion push into electric vehicles because it wants to be known as the leader in that space, which is interesting for the people who are fucking last into that market. I mean, of all the major manufacturers, they've got to be the farthest behind. But they somehow want to be known as a leader in the space. So a strategic shift that, again, was inspired by the fact that the company was caught installing software on its vehicles that was meant to fool regulators into allowing dirty cars on the road. It did not seem completely out of question.
Yeah, I really thought the electric scandal was going to be that we secretly found out that there was a diesel motor in it.
I mean, look, I wouldn't put it past them. So we all know Volkswagen, not exactly a stranger to big scandals and lying about shit.
I love my new electric Jetta, but I don't understand why I have to put 20 gallons of diesel in it every week.
I thought the green pump was electricity.
Yeah.
Liquid electricity.
It is an electric Jetta, but it has a diesel generator in it.
Yeah, maybe that's it's battery acid you're putting in there. It was very believable. So a lot of people thought that they were doing this like huge push to like get into EVs more so than they actually are. And they have one EV for sale right now, I guess. So this got them into some fucking trouble. But it's also noteworthy. The Volkswagen Group CEO Herbert Diess has spent the last few months emulating Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who makes erratic decisions like most people drink water. So that's how they describe it. I haven't followed this guy specifically yet, but he seems to be trying to do the idiot rich guy thing to probably generate, attention, which he did successfully. And we all just hope that maybe the SEC was paying attention. So yeah, they're probably going to get into some trouble for that. I'm sure it'll be a slap on the wrist, of course. But Jesus, they can't even make a fucking joke right.
Yeah, April Fool's jokes are notorious for only working one day a year.
Yeah, and they didn't even get the fucking day right.
Being kind of lame, usually.
Yeah, pretty much.
No. Holly nailed it on April Fool's Day this year.
Oh my god!
Did anybody here see the social media stuff that Holly was doing on April Fool's Day?
No.
Are you talking about the moonshot?
Yeah.
That was the funniest thing I have seen in a long time. I'd like props to Holly. That was great.
They released an actual commercial for their new product. I forgot what it was called. I guess Zach says it's the moonshot, but it was a 3,000 shot of nitrous.
A 20 stage 3,000 shot.
And when they revealed it, it was just like a stack of like the plates that you put underneath your throttle body. It was like 10 or 20 plates. and then they announced their new larger like canister, and they rolled out like a full size like welding tank that was painted blue and had NOS painted on it.
That commercial was genuinely funny. They were like, "Do you have a bone to pick with a Top Fuel dragster in your Honda Civic? Well, now you can actually beat them." Something to that effect. It was great.
Yeah, but Holly had the understanding that to be a good joke, it can't just read like full blown reality.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing about jokes. Most of them generally have an element of humor.
Yeah,
in them.
yeah.
That's what makes them work.
A corporate name change isn't a joke. Like they just like, oh, this will be so funny if people think we're changing our name in a totally believable way. And you're like, no, that sounds like, fucking CNBC ticker fucking news. Like this is gonna come up on whatever that show, one of the stock shows that people screaming about stocks. Like it's news. Like what are you talking? It's not a joke.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Germans are usually known for their great sense of humor, so this is really really an outlier.
Oh yes, can you believe we joke about putting electric motor in car?
So yeah, I'm hoping they get fucked by this, but because they're stupid and it wasn't funny, so they deserve to pay something for that terrible joke.
Oh no, you see, you just don't get it. We put gas motors in cars, not electric. No, you see, you don't get the joke. Okay, I'm done with that bit. That didn't really. I don't stand by that.
All right. Well, I've only got about one more story here for this one. So this is kind of a weird one, but I don't know if anyone will happen to remember that there was some really expensive Porsche like hypercar that was involved in a crash about a year ago.
Yeah.
So the guy was like all fucking drugged out. I don't even know what he was on. But totally under the influence of drugs and alcohol. And this rich asshole is driving this like fucking hypercar in Manhattan. Okay. Not an easy place to be driving. Kind of a lot going on there. So this isn't like some country back road. Asshole crashes into parked cars, destroys this like piece of art car, and speeds off, leaving the scene, got arrested. Well, we have an update to the story. The case was dropped. Yep, no consequences. Wow. Yeah, no consequences. Rich guy got away with it. So it was happening. What?
Oh, it just keeps happening. Rich guys getting away with it.
It's so weird.
Yeah, that's it's a very common theme on our show, actually. So the criminal charges dismissed against Gambala Mirage GT owner who went on viral wrecking spree in Manhattan. So if our listeners don't yet know what we're talking about, it was like a blue supercar. Just try and look it up on YouTube or something, because there was a video out there. Like somebody filmed this asshole just like smashing into parked cars, trying to leave.
A few people filmed it from different angles too. So like there's a lot of evidence that this guy just, drunkenly crashed his car. And I think it was like 6 or 7 in the morning. So like this guy had been up all night partying and doing whatever.
Yeah.
And then
that's exactly
the
what it was.
funniest
was
part
like
is when he's trying to drive away, like the like car cover that he has stashed in the trunk, like the trunk flies open and the car cover just goes drifting in the wind, and he's like dragging the front bumper on the ground and stuff.
Yeah, there's parts of this car were falling off as he was driving away.
Similarly, like this wasn't like reckless behavior as best as I can tell, but some friends of mine were out in Philly were sending me pictures earlier where a 2021 McLaren 765 LT burst into flames and burned to the ground at a gas station in Philly.
Oh
no.
The first,
I guess it's a limited edition. Only 765 were made, and thank God for the internet, because the first thing I saw about it on social media was Well, I guess there's only 764 now.
Yeah, the price of all the other ones went up.
Oh man.
Yeah. So the driver's name was Benjamin Chen, and he was originally arrested and charged with reckless driving and operating a motor vehicle while impaired by drugs. The criminal court case against the owner of the Gembala Mirage GT, I thought it was a Porsche, but whatever, who went on a wrecking spree.
Okay, I was just looking into that because I was confused by that as well. It's a very like highly custom modified.
Okay, that's okay,
Carrera
that
GT.
makes sense.
So it started life as a Porsche, but much like Hennessy, I think Gembala is a lot like Hennessy, where they'll take a production car, put tons of money and aftermarket parts into it, and
a car that was already beautiful too.
Wait, I'm just learning a lot about Hennessy right now. What?
Not the liquor, the
not the liquor. Sorry.
Yeah, the Carrera GT is already an expensive car.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Most in the U.S. sell between $600,000 and $1 million. So to put this in perspective, what this asshole did was he got $1 million hypercar, probably spent half as much more having it customized by Gembala, a third-party aftermarket, and then got fucked up, drove it into everything that he possibly could.
Yeah, and left the scene.
Just as to succinctly put it. And then ran away.
Hear me out.
What the fuck?
I have a business idea. We start buying Porsches, all right? No, hear me out. Blue dome lights. Alter the name so it says something. Porsches. Oh, this is my 900 horsepower Porsches.
Yes.
We changed the color on some of the bulbs. Mark it up 20%. Foolproof.
Dude, you gotta put bullets on the door locks.
Bullets
That's
on
a key
everything,
component.
my friend. We ain't stopping at door locks.
And if we're gonna call it a porch, we might as well, instead of a spoiler on the back,
Wooden
put
bumpers.
like a wooden
I hear
bench.
ya. Wooden bumpers all the way.
Yeah, I was gonna say wooden bench instead of a spoiler.
Not like well-crafted wooden bumpers. I'm talking about like 40-year-old off-road truck bumpers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just a log.
Actually, now that I think about it, this definitely needs to have a lift kit.
Yes. I mean,
it can't operate with that one. I didn't know. I thought that was implied.
This is a lot of cost, though. What about? I feel like we need less cost in we got to mark it up, of course, but we don't want it to cost too much. Now.
Don't worry about cost. We're only going to pay our workers $6 an hour.
Oh, okay. All right. That
I have nailed capitalism. How am I not rich?
Wait, aren't we the workers? Hold on.
I feel like that's the worst irony about capitalism is the folks who actually understand how it works for real are the people who are generally the poorest. You're like, oh shit, I figured out how this all works.
Rich people very much understand how capitalism works to an insane degree. No, it's people who have empathy that are poor.
Yes. Well, see, some of them understand it just enough to keep the system going. There's a lot of them don't have any idea how it works. They're just they're
look
fucking
into the
idiots.
Koch brothers like libertarian crusade over the last 50 years.
They know.
And you will think they are very aware of how capitalism works and apparently how marketing works. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, so that's what I'm saying is a few of them know and a lot don't.
You want to hear something wild?
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, mid-tier capitalists, not really. But upper echelon, they know.
Zach, what were you saying?
Oh, for sure. Oh, no. I learned the wildest thing this past week. So the invention of like PR as a thing, like public relations, was done by Edward Bernays, who is the nephew of Sigmund Freud. And he did it to sell the idea of UFCO, the United Fruit Company, now known as Chiquito.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Basically overthrowing the government in Guatemala. Yeah,
I
that
thought,
is where
so
PR
I thought
comes
it
from.
started earlier with. I actually thought I've heard others refer to the propaganda surrounding the U.S.'s entrance into World War One is kind of where PR started. Just kind of selling the idea to the public using these techniques, which were later, improved upon until we get to where we are today. But that was my understanding. I could be wrong.
I think PR. I think PR in the modern kind of
I could see that.
That fine
the
line
modern
between
application
propaganda
of
and
it
marketing.
and why it operates.
Yeah, we'll get our fact checking department on this
Yeah.
one and get back to you on that.
Yeah, interns, get on that. It's just my dog. He's not.
No, okay. So true or not, I have heard that about like Sigmund Freud's nephew being like the founder of modern marketing or whatever.
Okay, I can get behind that.
What were you saying, Chris?
Oh, still on this story. There's like a whole history with out of control rich people, like in Gambala, right? Didn't he go missing some years back? I
Like
vaguely
Mr.
remember.
Gambala?
Yeah.
I don't know
missing,
anything about
murdered, something like that. Money laundering was a whole thing. I have to look this up.
Yeah. Another job for our interns.
Yeah, I don't know. Sounds like rich people being fucking rich people, and of course they get away with breaking the laws, even when they're filmed doing it. We know this,
Yeah.
I have no idea. No poor person would have these charges dismissed. I mean, he did a lot of fucking damage, and this was brazen and absolutely egregious. But he's rich, so
you can't
this might
punish the
affect
job
his career.
creators.
Yeah, this could hurt his image, and he can't create jobs that way. So in the name of the line going up, this asshole won't face charges. Which I'm all for prison abolition, but like as long as the prison system exists, I want motherfuckers like this and Chauvin to, pay for their shit.
Amen. And that's how we'll get prison abolition too. If we just put all the rich people in prison, then get rid of them right quick.
That's true. I like it.
No, that's why we bring back the firing squad.
Oh, speaking of prison abolition, I just noticed the other day, I don't know if this will still be true when the episode comes out, but I noticed that the ebook version of The End of Policing is free right now on the Verso website. So pick that up if you haven't already. It's a pretty good read.
I have not read that, so that's a good recommendation.
Yeah, I've actually only read the first half, so...
yeah, I've only read the first half
so far.
of the first stack of books on my bookshelf, so yeah.
Well, cool. Did we have anything else, or are we wrapping up here?
I would like to drop that GM is still struggling with their whole chip shortage, where they're making trucks less fuel efficient and they're cutting back on production on stuff, and now they've officially started laying people off in response to the microchip shortage. So that's I don't know how much we've been following that story. I can't remember if I talked to people about it off of here or on here, but that as an ongoing thing continues to get worse.
Yeah, it's not just your gaming rig that's suffering. It's actual trucks and stuff.
Yeah, they estimate that
some...
across the board, all trucks released this year will get 1 mile per gallon less fuel economy because they don't have the microchips for their active fuel management systems.
Yeah, and this is all to do with cryptocurrency mining, right? It's like people buying up the chips for mining whatever. Ethereum or whatever it's called. And I saw something also that there's a new cryptocurrency that instead of using processing, it uses storage. So all it does is just write a bunch of random garbage data to your hard drive and fill it up. And then you get...
I could do that myself.
Yeah. So I don't know where this is going to end up, but it all seems very stupid to me.
Yeah.
Dude, for 150 years, communists are just screaming money isn't real, but a couple of fucking idiots with computers say it, and all of a sudden, fucking Bitcoin's a thing.
Yeah. Oh, man. And, well, a lot of them think it is real, but...
Yeah.
Crazy.
What?
Oh, I love the world we live in. It's not absurd at all.
So rarely is it upsetting.
No, so I didn't know that about the chip shortage, though. I thought it was like a supply chain thing. I didn't know that it had something to do with mining rigs.
Yeah, I think it is a supply chain thing also because a lot of industries have been disrupted by COVID. You know, they're working at lowered capacity. They can't, have as many employees in the building at once or whatever.
Unless you're Tesla.
So that's definitely part of it. But I think I'll also crypto is to blame for a good portion of it.
I haven't fact-checked this yet, but I heard this week that the amount of energy consumed by cryptocurrency mining rigs is roughly equivalent to the amount of power generated from solar output in the world.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and it's also
yikes.
It's also similar to the amount that Argentina uses, like a whole ass country.
That sounds bad.
Yeah, it is bad.
Yeah, for a while I was like, y'all are just nitpicking if you're complaining about how much energy mining rigs are using. And then I realized the actual scope of it, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Well, and so the other thing about those weird cryptos is, like, one, they take up all this power to mine for right now. And so that's what, like, oh, they're worth so much money because it's so hard to get. As soon as, I don't know when this will happen, Bitcoin is set up to, like, work for, like, over 100 years or whatever the fuck. But the minute quantum computers are kind of not even commercially available, but, like, available for, like, colleges and stuff, they're gonna mine. It'll be like, oh, we just made 100 Bitcoins per minute because we have that kind of computing power without the power requirements. I mean, it's just going to be like, it's going to render these things fucking worthless as soon as that happens. So whoever has quantum computing capability at that time is going to have all of them, and then they will render all cryptos essentially worthless.
Okay,
is
so
what
as
I'm
like
thinking is
technology advances and they want to say like hyper everything, and now there's like hyper cars. What you're describing is actually going to be hyper inflation.
Yep. We'll see what really happens, but yeah, that's no one who's really into crypto seems to be addressing that problem, which I think is like, I'm an idiot. How am I seeing this problem that no one else is seeing? Like, that shit's going to be, it's like set up like, oh, it's going to be hard to mine forever. And it's like, no, it's not. As soon as we have this, it's over. Like,
that's because most of the people who are really into crypto are too busy trying to figure out how to legalize child pornography.
Yeah, probably. Oof.
Yep.
But on that
note,
there's
so much libertarian overlap. I thought that joke would land. Maybe you should just edit that out. But no.
No, it's a big libertarian thing.
It did kind of, yeah. It did kind of make me laugh that that one guy that Matt Gaetz was involved with, that was like, I don't know, he was like Florida County Election Commissioner or something like that.
Yep.
He used like state resources to do cryptocurrency mining, like with a server in his office, and that he was also storing child porn on, and then it like caught on fire and like burned down part of the building.
My God.
So it was like a perfect distillation of libertarian right-wing weirdness,
or as they call it nowadays, Republican.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, good times.
Well, that's pretty much all I've got for this one.
Yeah,
and yeah, I don't know. Follow us on social media. We're there. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Send us an email. We're lonely. We want to hear from you. Mostly praise, though. Please make it mostly praise. That's what we want to hear.
Or at least make it funny.
Yeah,
funnier
if
than
it's
Volkswagen.
negative, just send it to me. I'll handle this shit.
And if you could remember to go ahead and give us a like or a rating or whatever your podcast app does. I don't know. They're all different. I'm pretty sure ratings help us in some way. So, ratings appreciated.
Oh, and I should say also, some people are having trouble finding the RSS for the website, for the podcast. If you go to the Shout Engine link on a mobile app, it won't show up. But if you use the desktop site, it should be up in the upper right-hand corner. It should say RSS, but I'll see if I can put that in the notes also, just in case.
Wow, it is astounding how little of that I understood.
But yeah, and thanks to Chris for joining us, and
yeah, thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, come back anytime.
And,
thanks for coming
I
on.
enjoyed you.
Awesome.
I can't speak for everyone, but personally, I thought you added a lot.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was good times.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for being here, Chris.
And yeah, I think that's about it, unless we got something else.
If I could revive that Toyota story just for a second, I was reading through it, and it says here, this is the one that has all of 4 more horsepower and no torques. Toyota claims a 1.1 second improvement from 0 to 62 miles per hour, now coming in at 6.3 seconds. And first of all, that does not come from 4 extra horsepower. I got to assume that's a gearing change. And
so what they said,
doing 7.4 seconds before, you guys called a Miata not a sports car. Go ahead, Gunnar.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That improvement is actually over the old models. So that is not the difference between the Subaru and the Toyota. That is the difference between the old models that they had. So this new improved platform overall, the Toyota is going to claim a 1.1 second improvement in the 0 to 60 time, which is to a not super impressive 6.3 seconds 0 to 60, but that is the improvement over the GT86, so the older version. So yeah, sorry if that wasn't clear.
Okay. You said a Miata wasn't a sports car.
I say Miatas aren't sports cars, but 95% just to be antagonistic. And 5% because they're actually not sports cars.
Yeah, I wonder if is the newer Miata actually faster to 60 than the whatever it is, GR86 or whatever?
It's a good
we
question.
know that?
Wait, they still make Miatas?
Maybe.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that.
It is faster. The 2019 MX-5 Miata does 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds on the RF trim.
That's not bad.
The convertible takes 6.1, so still faster.
Man, yeah, that's what my 20-year-old 350Z got stock. Nice.
Makes you think.
You could have spent twice as much on a brand new Miata.
I'm really not selling me on Miatas, guys.
Well, that's all I've got. So, yeah, follow us on social media and, rate our podcast. Only 5 stars, though. No, nothing less, please.
5 stars or get the fuck out.
Yep.
do 6 stars if you're able to. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever the maximum number is. If it's 10, give us that.
Yeah, what if it's 10 and we've been saying give us 5 stars? People are going to be like, all right, they are really striving towards mediocrity.
Yeah, that would suck.
I think right now what we're doing is padding the runtime.
Yeah.
Which we don't need to do.
We're already so long.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everybody. Now
enough.
for 2 more anecdotes.
Yeah, I did have a story I could share, but I think we can cut it at this point. So,
yeah, tune in next time for whatever more bullshit.
Yeah.
Somebody email us with instructions on how to end a podcast, please.
I think we should just end it in the middle of a sentence, but like something that seems like it's really going to pay off.
Yeah, I'm probably going to cut it in the middle of that fucking sentence. So, we'll never know at the end of what you said.
I can start telling the story about how I made my friend realize he'd been doing meth.
Granny shifting, not double clutching like you should. You're lucky that 100-shot of NOS didn't blow the welds on the intake. Now me and the mad scientist gotta rip apart the block and replace the piston rings you fried.
The free market mythology, it argues that the most ruthless, selfish, opportunistic, greedy, calculating plunderers, applying the most heartless measures in cold-blooded pursuit of corporate interest and wealth accumulation, will produce the best results for all of us. Through something called the invisible hand.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Over the last century, the U.S. government has done everything in its power to snuff out alternatives to its rule. From roundups to mass arrests of thousands of anarchists, socialists, leftists in the U.S., making it illegal to even be a communist, to carrying out military interventions in over 70 nations just since World War II, causing untold human misery, all in the name of fighting ideas.
What are you smiling about?
Dude, I almost had you.
You can jail a revolutionary, but you can't jail a